Hey everyone, the first season of Starfleet Academy is off and running, but mixed reviews. That said, any series or movie really needs to be good enough to withstand internet chatter and all types of criticism. But in the algorithmic age that runs on dumpster fires, we have got to make these judgments for ourselves. I had some serious issues with the story in the first episode. And I think the focus they chose really missed some big opportunities for the series and what it had to offer, which was basically the rebuilding of Starfleet Academy. We never got to see that. Still, I decided to give the next two episodes a chance, since any new series usually rises or falls with its first two or three episodes. That was also true even back in the 1960s with the original Star Trek featuring Kirk, Spock, Uhura, Scotty, and all the rest, which was actually kind of trashed by many critics of the time, with comments like disappointingly bizarre and astronautical soap opera that suffers from interminable flight drag. If Gene Roddenberry was anything, he was an optimist. Still, his original series only lasted for 3 seasons before being canceled due to low ratings and high production costs. But it later returned as an animated series, several feature films, and a string of new series. Looking back, Star Trek's greatest strength has always been reinvention. Each series is designed to bring in a new generation of fans while embracing Roddenberry's vision for the time that each new series is actually produced. Every Star Trek series has faced pushback for one reason or another. So, honestly, Starfleet Academy is not unique in this regard. What gets lost in the noise of critical chatter is that there's a real discussion to be had about story and characters and just the overall concept, which is what helps people to decide if this series is for them or not. That's why I'm looking at the first 3 episodes as a whole unit here, knowing some people are going to love it, some people are going to hate it. That's just how it's going to be. So the goal for me is simply to help you figure out where you land and all that noise. If this is the kind of review that you like, please do give the video a thumbs up and subscribe. So, all right. Starfleet Academy stars Holly Hunter as Captain Nahla Ake, the Chancellor of the newly reformed school and captain of the USS Athena. The first 3 episodes focus on themes of empathy, strategy, excellence, and the pursuit of peace and scientific discovery. There's a quirky earnestness to the series that echoes the earlier episodes of the original show. At the same time, there's this high tech glam that presents this sleek and futuristic world that's supposed to be set in the year 3190, which is kind of a step up from how Roddenberry described spraying plastic onto these crates in order to give the original series this more futuristic look. And yeah, I actually went back and rewatched the first 3 episodes of the original series to be able to make that comparison and dug up some old reviews and interviews related to the 1966 show. The series opener for Starfleet Academy tells two intertwined stories that intersect while introducing us to Nala, Caleb Meir, several incoming students, Nala's leadership team, and the primary villain, Noose Braca. This should have been a slam dunk for the series. So, what went wrong? What went wrong with this? Let's start with the high level breakdown that includes some kind of light spoilers. The first episode takes on too much. It opens with young Caleb watching his mother, Anisha, get convicted for helping the pirate Noose Braca steal supplies from a Federation transport. A guy gets killed. The case is overseen by Captain Nahla Ake and doesn't quite go as planned. Anyway, years later, Nala reunites with Caleb as an adult who's now a prisoner, and she offers him a commuted sentence in exchange for joining the newly reformed Starfleet Academy. The story then shifts to orientation day aboard the USS Athena, where the audience is introduced to the new cadets before Braca launches an attack on the ship in order to take it over. The second episode is much more tightly constructed, centering on a peace delegation from Beta Z that arrives on Earth to meet with Starfleet leadership at the shared campus that houses both Starfleet War College and the new Starfleet Academy. The delegation includes the Beta Z president and his two teenage children, and the talks focus on whether to bring down this protective wall that's separating Beta Z and the worlds that it's protecting from basically the Federation, as well as these other potential threats that are out there. The episode leans into these themes of empathy, of course, and peace, while developing Caleb's character through his growing connection with the president's daughter, Tarima, whose empathic abilities allow her to just kind of see past that bravado to his desire to belong somewhere with people that he can trust. The third episode focuses on basically on the two schools, pitting the cadets from the academy against the war college in this friendly, I think, game of Calica, which is essentially a modern version of laser tag that looks like a whole lot of fun. This is where the series finally starts to relax and enjoy itself, leaning into themes of strategy and teamwork as the Academy cadets try to outsmart their militarized rivals through an escalating series of pranks. These moments felt spot on and immediately reminded me of MIT's legendary hacks, like putting a police car on top of the dome or planting a giant MIT balloon under the turf that gets inflated during the Harvard and Yale game just to prove who the smartest kids are on the block. I've worked at MIT for a really long time, and I can tell you the writers have clearly modeled Starfleet Academy on MIT in a lot of different ways. The real highlight of the episode is seeing a playful and clever side of Nahla Ake that feels reminiscent of the best moments of James T. Kirk. The first episode of Starfleet Academy, it opens with some of its strongest moments, including when Captain Nahla Ake recruits Caleb from the penal colony. This scene works because Caleb's misdemeanors were not committed in Federation space, and Nahla approaches this from this strategic and sincere perspective. The tension between them, though, feels real as Caleb's anger and sense of betrayal start clashing with Nala's genuine concern and feelings of responsibility for what happened to him. That shifting power dynamic between them works really well. The rest of the episode isn't nearly as strong and should really have been split into two parts, with the first being focused on Nala at the school, setting it up. And then the second one could have been that training exercise that we see in the episode that focuses on the anomaly. And episode one's biggest problem, when you really get down to it, is that it took 41 minutes to get to the action. The rest of the time was spent all on introductions. It also weakens Nala's character by making orientation day her literal first day on the job, really presenting her as a last minute hire who hasn't even seen the new campus or met her first officer or any of the other crew. For a position of Chancellor at Starfleet Academy, this does not feel authentic in any way. On top of that, the second half of the episode really becomes this string of convenient conflicts, from Caleb being so sloppy with messages that Braca intercepts them, to senior staff being sidelined or injured, leaving the incoming students to stave the ship. The final confrontation ends with Braca's easy escape, which feels wrong, since I honestly cannot imagine a reality in which an escape pod from a Federation starship cannot be tracked or remotely controlled in any way. Individually, these moments might be forgivable, but together they break the illusion of a competent, well run Starfleet operation, which is absolutely not the way to kick off a brand new series about Starfleet Academy. What they do get right is the technology and the design that kind of pulls it all together. Visually, both the Athena and the land based Starfleet Academy work really well. The mix of physical production sets and digital effects creates a campus that feels like a futuristic academic setting. The Athena's sleek, open layout with glass walls and shared spaces actually does feel like a modern research university transported into the Star Trek universe. A new use of their old tech is the transporter doorway that gives Caleb this haircut and instantly dresses him in a fitted uniform. And it follows existing transporter logic that feels like a real natural evolution for how it would have been used in everyday life. Episodes 2 and 3 build on this by introducing phasers with transporter tech that can beam people directly to pre designated locations. I also appreciated that they still use lifts and walkways around the ship and campus instead of just relying on teleportation. The series also leans into horticulture and biotech with plant life that responds to stimuli that aligns with real world science and how people with green thumbs treat their plants. To solve this problem that the cadets have, the students develop a growth serum for a plant, and the thought process here is very old school Trek. We also get this clearer explanation about the holographic or photonic beings like the Doctor and Sam, who can now shift between being fully physical and completely transparent. This explains how they can carry objects, administer medicine, interact with the physical world around them, and even cast shadows, all of which were issues in episode 1 that never got addressed. Finally, it all makes sense, even if it took 3 episodes to get there. The good news is that episodes 2 and 3 are much tighter and more confident in their storytelling. Episode 2 accomplished a delicate and strategic negotiation with the Beta Z president. As part of that story, the question of how to repair trust becomes a central theme to bring Beta Z back into the Federation after the burn. And we also see how that strategic and political theme gets paired with empathy and understanding, and how that is made personal through this growing friendship between Tarima, the daughter of the president, and Caleb, who has been abandoned by pretty much everyone he has ever trusted. These kinds of topics are absolutely core original Star Trek. Meanwhile, episode 3 pits the cadets from Starfleet Academy against the established cadets of the War College. They are essentially outclassed in every way, from strategic planning to teamwork, and they are facing a no win scenario with the escalating game of pranks and challenges until Chancellor Ake plants her own seeds to inspire her cadets to think beyond normal solutions to find these out of the box answers. It's essentially a precursor to the type of thinking that Captain Kirk pulled off as a Starfleet Academy student when he faced the Kobayashi Maru test. While episode 1 stumbled real hard, episodes 2 and 3, again, they recovered and they give the series a second chance. A lot of online backlash also focus on these woke and anti woke ideologies, which honestly doesn't make sense since Star Trek has this really long history of political themes, of including aliens in the stories and having women in all of the episodes. That doesn't inherently make a story woke or anti woke. It's easy to imagine even more aliens and bioengineering would be present in the 32nd century, which is when Starfleet Academy actually takes place. I'll agree that the episode, especially episode 1, leans in way too heavily on aliens and hybrids, which seems to be toned down a bit in episodes 2 and 3, which is nice. From a performance standpoint alone, especially for non human characters, it's really important for studios to remember that people connect most easily with human faces and body language. Too much makeup or too many prosthetics or too many creatures, even, can limit our emotional engagement with a character. The other major complaint floating around is about the number of women in the show. And I honestly don't know what to say about that. We literally live in a world with a 50-50 gender split in the US as well as around the globe. In the United States, roughly 50% of teachers are female at the college level. So the gender split visually feels pretty normal. It's what I see every day in the world around me. I've also seen complaints about a gay character that some of the women are fat, that I don't know. Are those honestly complaints about the story? I just don't think that's what we should be talking about. We should be talking about the story and the characters and how well they're developed. But granted, I get that people want to watch hot Trek. Heck, that's a very human reaction, but there are lots of pretty and straight people in this series. In fact, most of them are hot Trek characters, especially with the introduction of the Betazoid Tarima, who is honestly super hot Trek. And then there's Nahla Ake. And you know what? She's pretty hot Trek too, especially for older audiences. Plus, she does a great job with her role. She is playful and sharp and incredibly savvy. Intentionally, she comes off as this quirky person while mentally creating this strategic takedown list in the back of her mind for all the people that she needs to watch out for. I was initially kind of annoyed by Lura Thok, the Klingon Jem'Hadar hybrid, because one, that's never really addressed that much about how she came into being since Jem'Hadar can't have children, but it's probably bioengineering, so okay, I can go with that. And the thing is, what annoyed me about her is that she felt like she was overacting in the episode, especially episode one. And I mean, in a really big way. She seemed to be compensating for all the costuming and the makeup that she had to wear. In the following episodes, though, she kind of leans more into her Klingon nature, which ends up being both kind of funny and kind of believable for that character. Now, the educational liaison, Lieutenant Rourke, is by far the weakest character and makes the worst professional judgment call in the series to date. The actress who plays her also does so in this really muted, very inert way that I found myself genuinely wondering how this character got the job at Starfleet Academy. And I gotta say, what we see with Rourke in a professional capacity just doesn't measure up. I don't believe her in that role. Then there's Jett Reno, who is in, turns out, a relationship with Laura Thok. And it's honestly, it's a giant nothing burger, guys. I literally don't care because they don't play it up. It's not preachy. And it's more of a character footnote than anything else. What I really liked about Jett Reno is that she's funny. She's smart as heck. She's well read. And she's great. Like, really good at delivering her lines. And she is able to just kind of whip those science and responsibility zingers in with these quick, pithy moments that remind me of how Dr. McCoy used to deliver throwaway comments that would absolutely crack me up in the original series. These are the women getting the most social media flack right now. Some of it is justified. And some of those complaints are real, like the ones for Lieutenant Rourke, who thankfully hasn't reappeared in episode 2 or 3. And it's not my intention here to be overly critical. I'm just trying to be thoughtful and grounded in my criticism of her character because I just don't think she works. She simply doesn't work. And she should be quietly written out and replaced. That's just my opinion. So, given all of that, is episode 1 of Starfleet Academy worth watching? Well, it kind of depends on what you want out of the series. While the first episode suffers from several structural failures that are really, really hard to overlook, episodes 2 and 3 feel really on track for what Star Trek is supposed to feel like. Fans who want more continuity and logic and even complex character development will likely find more of what they want in the series as it develops. It's just really unfortunate that the first episode did not deliver on the promise of the series, but we have seen bigger stumbles out there in other series openers that proved to still be worth watching in the end. Starfleet Academy is likely to be a love it or hate it show, but you really need to get past that first episode to understand what the series actually has to offer. So, Starfleet Academy, have you bothered watching it? Was it just episode 1 and did you bail? Did you make it through any of the other episodes? I'm really curious what you thought about them so far because this show is getting so much heat right now. I'd really love authentic feedback. Like, what did you like or dislike about the series? And if you can do more than like episode 1, go into episode 2 or 3 even. I think we need to have a real discussion about this. And will you be tuning in for more episodes in the future? Thanks so much, everyone. I hope you found this review helpful. Please be sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and let me know if you want me to do more Star Trek reviews. I will do deep dives in these if you want me to. That's it for now. Thanks again for being here. And hey, why not check out one of these other videos and let me know what you think? I will see y'all again soon. In the meantime, happy viewing. Bye for now. See you soon.